Time to decide the first round of the mini challenge, the third and final race. Combined results of races 1 and 2 determine the grid. So Neil McFadden and Grant Denyer start from the front row, Paul Stokel and Jason Bargwanna just behind.
Well, race 3 is usually where it all happens, you know. The boys have got their eye in for 2 races. Now it's probably time to get a bit serious.
So the trophies are up for grabs. There's also some weight trophies because the top 3 will score weight penalties at the end of the round before round 2 at Wakefield Park. Set for a start in race 3 of the mini challenge. And it's Grant Denyer with a flying start from the front row of the grid. And now Neil McFadden's under pressure from Paul Stokel.
Now this is the important part. You've got to get a good toe straight into turn 2. And this is probably do your most passing in the first 200 metres. So this is where the boys have got to have a bit of a go.
Jason Bargwanna around the outside at turn 2.
I think Barks has fed him a bit of a fender there for a little while too. He's oh, that's what we like to see. Bit of hitting. Get in there, boys.
Why am I not surprised that you think that?
Well, you know, Barks has been around a while. He's swapped a few paint with a few cars, and he's just letting some of the new guys know, hey guys, I'm here.
Neil McFadden is certainly here. He's up the inside of Grant Denyer.
Now that was a really good move. He faked it to the right, and as soon as Denyer went out, he fired it down the inside. Good move.
Neil McFadden taking over the lead in car with Grant Denyer. What can he do to respond?
Grant's going to have to watch it here because there's a ton of cars behind him, and going into this hairpin is usually when people fire down the inside.
Oh, Paul Stokel must have been listening. He's in the gap.
There you go. But there's still a bit of a gap there. Oh.
That was Jason Bargwanna into the side of Denyer now.
Now, Barks has lost a bit of momentum coming out of the hairpin. Now he's absolutely getting swamped.
It's not the way to treat a brand new car.
Well, you can tell the boys don't own them, so they're not shy, they're into them.
So Neil McFadden back up front. Nathan Gear up the inside of David Turner at turn 12.
Like I said, first 2 races the boys are getting their eye in. Now race 3, usually this is where you see the action. Here all the stones flicking up and the rubber, the dead rubber coming off. That's all that hitting and banging you can hear going on in the car. It's not the engine, it's just rubber flicking up under the guards.
Down to turn 2. Already the elbows have been out. Paul Stokel up the inside, up on the grass at turn 2.
He thought about it, but he wasn't far enough up. If he kept going, someone was going to rotate around.
Now, the driving standards observer for Mini Challenge this year is Warren Luff, and he's a guy with a lot of experience in one-make championships, and particularly with front-wheel drive cars. I've got a feeling he's going to have a busy year.
I reckon so. These, like I said, considering this is a first race, boys are getting stuck into it pretty well, but I'm sure after a few rounds, there's going to be plenty of paint swapping, and Warren knows the deal. He's a good steerer. He knows what's right and what's wrong.
So Bargwanna moves through to 4th place. A replay of the start, and Grant Denyer certainly left Neil McFadden in his wake off the grid. McFadden leads in race 3 of the Mini Challenge at Eastern Creek Raceway. At Eastern Creek Raceway, race 3 in the opening round for 2008 of the all-new Mini Challenge. And Jason Bargwanna is in the guest car this weekend, and Nathan Gear not afraid to attack through turn 1.
Oh, he's on the loud pedal, that's for sure, but well, Barks' thing looks a little bit down on power and down on a wheel as well.
Up the inside, Nathan Gear. Bush bashing through the scenery.
Not much traction out of there, dude. You got to keep on the black stuff.
Bargwanna hangs on from Paul Fiore. But this car has copped a bit of a working over, and you can see there on the door, it's got the marks to prove it.
Whoa, I tell you what, that was never going to come off. That wasn't going to stop.
Bargwanna had the inside for turn 3 to at least hang on. Such a mix of drivers in this new series. Dave Turner, Ian Sherrin and Gary Young, who's going to race in the Aussie race cars as well as the Mini Challenge this year, just to make things busy for 2008. But this is a good dice.
Well, that's the good thing about it is you've got a few experienced drivers in there. So for some of the not so experienced drivers, at least they've got someone to gauge their performance on as well and learn off of as well. So it's a great mixture.
Gary Young was last year's performance car champion in a four-wheel drive Mitsubishi Lancer, but he's got a very different car to contend with this year. Chris Oxley sneaking up the inside, a former Lotus driver. Jason Bargwanna really pressuring Grant Denyer at turn 9, and you can take so many different lines there. The late apex there, though, worked quite well.
Denyer's leaving a big hole going into that hairpin in turn 9. He's leaving himself a bit exposed there, so be a little bit careful.
You can see the brake lights come on there too. The driver's just having a tap of the brake pedal before turn 9.
Yeah, it's as the race goes on, tyres are probably getting a little bit second-hand, you know, starting to wear a bit. You get a little bit more push into the cars, a little bit more understeer. So you have to start using the throttle to steer the car a little bit too. Different technique with front-wheel drive cars and rear-wheel drive cars for sure.
Neil McFadden has had a great weekend. He took pole position. He's had one race win, and he's worked his way to the front in race 3. He'll bring it to the checkered flag with the lights ablaze to not just take the race win, he'll clinch the first ever round win in the Mini Challenge at Eastern Creek Raceway.
Nice drive, smooth, consistent. He's got the champagne.
Grant Denyer's home in 3rd place for the race. Jason Bargwanna only just survives for 4th spot from Nathan Gear, who I think might be a guy to look out for this year.
Absolutely, seems to be on the money for sure, so I think he's in for a good year.
Neil McFadden, the winner. Ian Sherrin, Chris Oxley, and Gary Young rounded out the top 10.
It feels great, you know. I'm really excited about the series, having a great time. You know, the whole team's just having really good fun, and that always, you know, shows in the results as well.
Neil McFadden, top of the championship, but because he wins this round, he picks up a 25-kilogram weight penalty for the next one. Paul Stokell gets 15 kilograms, and Grant Denyer ends up with 10. But the champagne flies at Eastern Creek Raceway.